Hello, gentlemen, and welcome to another Pallavi Market Research video. Today, we're going to be discussing how electricity drives all markets in the context of what happened over the weekend, which is potentially the start of World War III. Now, if you weren't living under a rock, you will be aware that Iran attempted to use its drones to pierce the Iron Dome here in Israel. That's what this picture is there. And then also, if you're looking a little closer, you'll notice that Russia sent a bunch of ships into the Mediterranean with a bunch of supersonic missiles. Okay? Russia, if you're not aware, is a ally of Iran. And obviously, when Russia engages in conflicts, we tend to engage as well. Now, this is very disruptive. Very, very disruptive. And it loops back to the title of this video, how electricity drives all markets. Because in order to get oil out of the Middle East, which pretty much all the oil is, but we'll cover that later in the video, you need to follow these shipping routes to get these to Western nations, right? Including us here in the United States. So, what does this mean? Because there's a lot of other things going on behind the scenes as well that people aren't as aware of. And so obviously we're familiar with the fact that Saudi Arabia, Iran, Iraq, Kuwait, the UAE, and I think that's what this is, doesn't really matter, um, own the vast majority of all the oil. So they are the price setters, right? They get to they set the price, especially during times of conflict like this, where it's very difficult to get oil out, right? What you'll notice here is that actually at the very top of this list is a country on our hemisphere, and that's Venezuela. And that is a country that is currently governed by Nicolas Maduro, who is a communist leader. And Maduro, no one's talking about this, did something extremely controversial recently. And that is he claimed via referendum 2/3 of the country of Guyana. Okay? This country here. He just signed a law that claimed that Venezuela owns 2/3 of this country. And this region of Guyana is where all of their oil is. Okay, that's why he claimed it. And it's very interesting because now they have even more oil than they had before, right? Which is obviously at the very top of the list. But what's even more interesting is that Venezuela, obviously a government that's very difficult to trust, is stating that the US is building secret military bases in this disputed region called Essequibo, something like that. But that's what this region is. It's basically just all untouched rainforest, right? So this is very important because obviously our economy runs off of something called electricity. And our primary way of generating electricity is via oil and oil sources, right? That's how our cars run, that's how everything works. So in order to understand the economy and how it works, you need to understand how electricity drives it, right? But in the context of these wars and these moments, these dips that occur, on the far side, on the other side of an invasion, of a war beginning, you'll see that there are these dips in the economy, right? And some of these dips are steeper than others. And you'll notice that the Vietnam War, not an oil relevant area, the Crimean crisis, that's a region in Ukraine, essentially, like, southern Russia, Ukraine. These are not strategic oil sources for the United States versus the Gulf War, Afghanistan War, Iraq War have significantly greater dips because we're touching on our fuel source, the source of our economy. Okay. If we think in first principles on how an economy works, we need electricity to power that economy, to power the Wi Fi, to power this very YouTube channel and all the little gadgets that, fuel it. Right. So that's not too difficult for us to understand. So when oil prices go up, the cost of running the economy also goes up. Because to just break this down more in a more detailed fashion, so you guys can actually go ahead and learn something. When oil prices go up, the cost of production goes up, transportation costs go up, consumer spending goes down. Inflation can also go up via something called cost push inflation, which is something you guys should all go learn about. We're not going to talk about in this video. And investment flows go down. And all of this leads to less profits, less jobs, less innovation. So what? What are we talking about here? It's really important that we make the right moves moving forward. We need to be tracking and seeing things ahead of time. We want to also be conscious about how and where we're voting with our dollars, because when we are investing in a company, we are voting for that company to not only to continue to exist, but to get stronger. So I'd encourage each and every one of you, if you are looking to, I don't know, profit from the war effort, because quote unquote, if I don't do it, someone else will. I want you to really just take a deep breath and realize that that is the crux of all of these problems that I'm highlighting in this video. It is essentially an eye for an eye leaves the world blind, right? Maybe you have met people who work in these industries, right? Who build literal missiles and, fighter jets and things like that. And their opinion is, and they may seem like great members of community, great fathers, great things like that. Their whole purpose is to create war machines that are designed to kill people, right? So be aware of where you choose to capitalize on this effort and maybe just challenge some of your own preconceived notions about what is right and wrong. I am not saying that I am some authority on this matter at all, but I hope that I can leave you with this message that these are dangerous times. People are going to die. People are dying. And this has a very, very solid possibility of entering our hemisphere here in Venezuela, in my opinion. Because after all, we know what our history is. We know how we've treated Iraq and Iran and all these other countries in the past, Kuwait as well. So, who's to say Venezuela isn't next? And who's to say, really, that we know that Venezuela is lying when it says that the US is building secret military bases already in this region to, I imagine, protect Guyana, right? Which is true. That would be a good thing to do. But if Guyana didn't have oil, would we be protecting them? We'll see. We'll see. All right, guys. That is today's Powell View Market Research video. I hope you enjoyed it, and we will pick this up again tomorrow. Again, if you haven't seen one of these videos before, Winston Churchill, when he did a little peace sign, he's photographed a lot doing a peace sign. He doesn't mean a peace. He doesn't mean peace when he's photographed doing this. He means victory. So when I do it, it means peace and victory. Stay safe, guys. See you.